In this video, we are taking a look at the Xbox 360e, one of the most interesting 360 consoles ever created. The reason why this is interesting is because this Xbox 360 console was released in 2013 while the Xbox One was getting released. Now this was used to unify the selection between the 360s and the Xbox Ones. Now for people who couldn't afford the brand new Xbox One, this was a great option for them. You had the 4GB model or the 250GB model. There was no in between, which is interesting. You could also buy the internal hard drive for the Xbox 360e. That would help you get an extra 100GB or so. So let's have a look at the body of the Xbox 360e and compare some of the features. So some of the features about this console was that it was a lot smaller than your normal Xbox 360 model. So if I was to get one to compare, this is what a normal Xbox 360 model looked like. So it was a lot taller, a lot bigger overall. As you can see, external hard drive there. At the bottom of this console, you would drag this down and then pull this out, and then you can put your internal hard drive there. There was also a different sort of power source as well. If we were to compare the two different power sources, what was interesting was we both had this massive power brick, but this was a gray sort of color, and we had this sort of power source. For the Xbox 360e, what we had was this black model, and it was a bit more upgraded, and we had this sort of power source right here. So I felt there was a bit more of an upgrade. The input volts was 200 to 240 volts. The original Microsoft power adapter had also 200 to 240 volts. So there's no like difference in terms of output and voltage between the two. It was just more of an upgrade design overall in terms of the power source. What is also interesting about the Xbox 360e is it had its own adapter for the Xbox Connect over here. Also, it had 4 inputs for USB connection, while the original Xbox 360 console only had 3 USB inputs at the front and the back, and no adapter for the Xbox Connect. So as you can see through the history of the Xbox 360, they really try to incorporate, the Xbox Connect into the almost every single day living for the Xbox user. What is also interesting is we had this AV adapter over here as well, so it's more suitable for more TVs, which is interesting because the original Xbox did not have an AV adapter. So it seemed like more of an upgraded, smaller, sleeker, faster sort of model. Even though with the Xbox 360, I did find that even with the Xbox 360e, while still playing on the console using Skyrim, for example, like it was still starting and stopping during the gameplay and stuff like that. So like the internal hard drive and the SSD of the Xbox 360 overall was quite slow, I found, and also had troubles sort of loading in gameplay. But what is really interesting about this console is that there was either the 4GB model or the 250GB model. There was no in between, and to get the in between, it was buying an extra hard drive. So there was that objective selection of upgrading the hard drive. But Halo, for example, was about 2.5GB. So that's half the amount of the 4GB storage already used. So you weren't getting that much for the 4GB model. But I did pick this up today for about $95. So that is extremely cheap. So it was very affordable. Or I could have gotten the one that was 250GB for about $140. So it was definitely, if you're actually buying this as a serious user, get the extra storage. Like it's so much worth getting that. And then you can add the internal storage as an extra option. And then you can pretty much get as many Xbox 360 games as you would like, basically. What is also interesting about this console is sort of like the design of the plates. So basically, as we know with the Xbox One, we had this sort of sleek sort of look for it. So it was definitely trying to rival that. But what I found is it's so much easier to scratch this sort of plating, and you can see all the finger marks all over it. While the original Xbox 360 design had this matte black finish, and it was, yes, you could probably still get like finger marks all over it, but it was a lot less easy to scratch, and with the top there, I don't know if you can see, there is a bit of rust with that, so that is a negative. With this model, I don't see any rusting. Also on the model, we have this really small power button right there, so that's a huge, it's not even a huge upgrade. So that's a big difference between the original, as we had a lot bigger of a circle. In the original, we had 2 memory card ports. With this one, we don't have any memory card ports. We just have extra USB connections. So instead of using memory cards, we're using more hard drives at this point in 2013. Now, some of the more notable games during this time for me personally was like Skyrim, Burnout Revenge, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, even FIFA 12, for example, Tony Hawk Underground. Like, I was playing all of those games. So for that, I wouldn't be able to fit all of that into the 4GB model. I would definitely need the upgraded storage. So I don't think it was worth getting, the 4GB model at all. But yeah, you guys let me know what your favorite game for the Xbox 360 was, what games you were playing during that time. So it was interesting hearing about what people experienced during this time. I'm sure a lot of people played Halo and Gears of War and stuff like that. There's a lot of great Xbox 360 exclusives that happened during this time. What I do miss about this console generation is just putting like a disc straight in and it would work straight away. You don't have to install anything, you don't have to download anything. The Xbox 360 characters that we don't have anymore, so we could design our own little widgets and characters, which is a lot of fun. We had the Xbox Connect, which was also great. Even Guitar Hero, stuff like that. We had those guitars and stuff like that, so that was a lot of fun. A lot of party games, multiplayer games and stuff like that. That was also amazing about the Xbox 360 era that I definitely miss. So overall, the Xbox 360e was that model where we're sort of in between the Xbox One, in between the Xbox 360, sort of stayed in that middle ground where it was a bit smaller, sleeker in terms of the design, and also had more USB ports, sort of left the memory cards behind, had the Xbox Connect connection inbuilt, cooler model sort of design like that. But I don't think a lot of people bought this model because it was sort of in between the Xbox One. Like, a lot of people would have upgraded to the Xbox One, but in case they couldn't afford the Xbox One, the Xbox 360e was there. But, a lot of people already probably had the Xbox 360 by then. Was it worth just upgrading to the Xbox 360e? I think it would have been better just to go straight for the Xbox One. So that's why it wasn't the most popular option in terms of the Xbox 360s, but it definitely was one of the most updated, more powerful options for the Xbox 360. Overall, this is the Xbox 360e. I hope you enjoyed this sort of cool little retrospective with this model and a comparison between the original model and what this one sort of beheld, and enjoyed some of the history lessons and a quick chat about the Xbox 360e. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you would like to see next, and your favorite games during the Xbox 360 era. I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.